Hey guys, how's everyone doing? It is Tuesday, so it is time for another lesson. Today we're going to talk about Joshua and the Battle of Jericho. You can find this in Joshua chapters 1 through 7. Now, the book of Joshua opens with the children of Israel standing before the Jordan River for the second time in 40 years. They had been in this position before, but the last time they chose to turn around and walk away. They saw the beautiful fruits that grew there. They knew about the great abundance of food in the water and the land God had promised, but they chose to focus on the problems they saw. They ignored God's promise and saw only the giants that inhabited the land. 40 years before the story of the Battle of Jericho, Moses was the leader of Israel. All of the adults from the former visit to the Jordan River had died off except two men, Joseph and Caleb. These were two of the original 12 spies who had gone into the Promised Land and tried to convince the people they should trust God to give them victory over the enemy. Now Joshua leads the country in the absence of Moses. Joshua sent two spies into the land to check out the walled city of Jericho. They entered the city and met a woman named Rahab. Rahab hid the men on the roof of her house when the soldiers of the city came to inquire about the strangers in town. Rahab told the city soldiers that the men left before the closing of the gates and that they needed to hurry to catch the men. Rahab waited for the soldiers to leave, and then she uncovered the spies. She told them what she and the people in the city knew about Joshua and the coming armies. The people in Jericho knew God had promised the land to the children of Israel. Before leaving Rahab's house, the spies promised that she and her family would be spared from the coming destruction. She was to hang a scarlet thread in the window, so that the Israelite soldiers would know which house belonged to her, so that they could save her. Joshua gathered the people into various groups. There were three main groups: the priests, a man from each tribe, and the rest of Israel. The priests took the Ark of the Covenant and stepped into the river. The river opened up to one side and dried up to the other. The people of Israel crossed over on dry land. Before the priests stepped away from the river, 12 men, one man from each tribe, picked up a boulder from the dry riverbed and carried it out. These 12 stones were placed in the Promised Land as a reminder to future generations of how God led Israel out of the wilderness into the land of promise. Many things changed for Israel the day they crossed into their new home. Now, after all this, Joshua got a surprise visit. A man appeared before him with a drawn sword. Joshua asked the man, "Are you for us or against us?" The answer was that one, standing before him, the captain of the Lord's host, and Joshua needed to decide the answer to his own question. Joshua pledged his allegiance to the Lord, and the captain of the Lord's host said unto Joshua, "Loose thy shoes from off thy foot, for the place whereon thou standest is holy." And Joshua did. So Joshua was to send the soldiers of Israel marching around Jericho one time a day for the next 6 days. The priests were to go behind the soldiers, blowing 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark. Then on the 7th day the host was to compass the city 7 times while the priests blew their trumpets. At the completion of this, they were to make a long, loud blast with their trumpets, and all the people were to shout. What happened after that was the walls of Jericho fell down flat. The soldiers entered the city and destroyed and burned everything. The spies that Rahab helped were given charge of finding her and her family. They were able to fulfill the promise to rescue her and her family, and they lived in Israel from then on. The Battle of Jericho was just the beginning of a new way of life for the children of Israel. Now, it was some little facts along with this story I wanted to go ahead and tell you all. There were two 30-foot high walls that ran parallel circling the summit of the mound. They were made of sun-dried brick, some 4 inches thick, but varying in length from 1 to 2 feet. The inner wall was from 11 to 12 feet thick, and the space between the walls was 12 to 27 feet. I thought that was neat. In Jericho, the first city captured by the incoming Israelites under Joshua, is now an 8-acre mound called Tel Sultan that lies beside the copious spring known as Elisha's Fountain. I hope you all enjoyed it. I will be back Friday with fun facts. If you liked it, please hit that like button. And if you would like to come back and hear more, I do a lesson every Tuesday and fun facts every Friday. So subscribe. Thanks. Bye.